guys, welcome back to CJ's Keto Kitchen. Tonight we're making cookies, chocolate chip cookies. So come along with me and let's get started. So chocolate chip cookies were invented in the United States about 1938 by Ruth Wakefield, and she ran the Toll House Inn. And she got the idea to chop up a Nestle's semi-sweet chocolate bar and put it into their traditional cookie recipe that they served at their restaurant. And of course it was a big hit, and that's how chocolate chip cookies took off. And their popularity was even intensified during World War II because family members would make cookies and send them to the soldiers, and then of course other soldiers who wanted their families to make cookies, so then it just kind of snowballed from there, and it basically became America's cookie. So they've been around for a long time, and of course Toll House morsels eventually became a packaged item that you can now prepare into cookies, but that's not keto, so we're going to be using a alternative sweetener product. So let's get started baking some cookies. So as with most traditional cookies, we are going to begin by creaming our butter and our sweetener. So we need a half a cup of butter, which is 1 stick, and it's softened. To that, I'm going to add about a half a cup of powdered erythritol. And get butter all over myself. And then I am also going to add a half a cup of the Sucrin Gold, which is the brown sugar alternative sweetener. And we just buy ours on Amazon. So that is our butter and sugar, and I'm going to begin creaming this, mixing it together with my hand mixer. So I'm going to begin slowly because with your powdered alternative sweetener, it can kick up. So. So at this point, I'm also going to add my teaspoon of vanilla extract. Okay, our sweetener and our butter are combined. I'm going to add 1 egg, and I have let mine come up to room temperature. Okay, so there are our wet ingredients, and we're going to set those aside and work on our dry ingredients. So in a separate bowl, we need 1.5 cups of almond flour. We need 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder. We need about 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and I'm just going to palm it. We also need 1/2 teaspoon of xanthan gum. This is optional, but what xanthan gum does is it kind of provides a leavening aspect to it to create more of a doughy texture for our cookie. And I'm able to find xanthan gum just on the shelf at Walmart. It's readily available in most grocery stores in the cooking aisle. So I'm just going to sprinkle that around. Now I'm going to take a fork and I'm going to mix all of our dry ingredients together so that we get the xanthan gum and the almond flour all broken down and our baking powder put in there. If you'd like to sift this, you absolutely could, but I am not going to. I'm just basically hand sifting it with my fork. Now we are going to take our wet ingredients again. I'm going to put a little bit in here to begin the mixing process, and then we will slowly add the rest.
Something that can't be seen. You got that one thing that's hard to come by. It's not your styling, it's not your jeans. No, what you got is deeper within. And your friends don't even know what you got. They just hang with you cause you earn a lot. You should lose them all and start hanging with me, cause I'm the only one who can see. I don't need your dreamy eyes, no. I don't need your pretty smile, no. I just want your perfect mind, yeah. That's all I need.
You don't want to overwork the dough too much. Our last two ingredients, I'm going to just spoon in by hand instead of using the mixer. And those two ingredients are, I have a half a cup of walnuts that I have chopped finely in my mini food processor. You can of course omit nuts if you don't want nuts. You could put pecans instead of walnuts, whatever you would like. And this is a half a cup. And then our other step is we need chocolate chips, of course, because it's chocolate chip cookies. Now, Lily's makes two different kinds of dark chocolate. They are sugar-free. They are sweetened with stevia. They have a new one that is keto baking chips, and then they just have their regular baking chips. The only difference between the two is size. They cost the same at my Whole Foods. So the regular chocolate chips look like that. And the keto chips are larger. That is the only difference between the two. The macros are the same. So I'm going to put in just a little bit of each, and we want our chip total to be about 3/4 of a cup. So that's half large and half small. And then I'm just going to mix these guys together into our cookie dough, trying not to overwork the dough too much, but trying to get an even chip and nut ratio to our dough so that when we make these into balls, every cookie has some chips and nuts. Okay, so there is our chocolate chip cookie dough. And of course you could just skip baking the cookies and just sit down and eat dough. Now I have preheated my oven to 350 degrees. I also have my half sheet baking pan, and I have a silicone mat on it. You could use parchment if you prefer, or you could just grease your cookie sheet, but I find that silicone is very nice. We have some linked in our Amazon favorites. That's where I got mine, and I absolutely love it. Okay, I am going to take my cookie baller so that my cookies will come out evenly. And I'm just going to start placing them on my silicone pat. And my cookies are going to bake for about 13 minutes. You do not have to have a cookie baller. You can just use a spoon or 2 spoons, whatever you'd like. But a cookie baller is relatively inexpensive. They're less than $5 now, and they are readily available. And it does make things fairly precise, which is nice. Okay, so here is our first batch of cookies. And I want to make sure I did those fairly evenly. And I am going to take a fork and press them down just ever so slightly, just so they bake up nice and evenly. And you can see they're all nice and uniform. There we go. In they go. 13 minutes. So I ended up baking mine for 15 minutes instead of 13. So that's how they look. They're nice and golden on the edges and slightly browned on the top. I'm going to let them cool for a few minutes on the cookie sheet, and then I'm going to transfer them to my cooling rack right here. And then we'll let CJ have a taste. Hi CJ.
Hi.
It's time for cookies.
Yep.
You get to be the cookie monster.
Oh wow. Just my dream job.
C is for cookie. And you've got a glass of
Milkadamia.
yes, macadamia nut milk.
Yes.
Yes.
And I guess we can try to link to that if people are interested.
Yes.
It's, let's see, 8 ounces is a serving and it's 0 net carbs. We're good. This is this is almond flour, so it tastes a little bit different than regular flour, but it's good. A nice sweet treat, easy to make.
It has a nice cookie texture.
It has a real nice cookie texture. I learned though that you do need to let them cool so they can firm up. Cause I tried to get one while you took it off and it crumbled in my hand. But yeah, you need to let them cool. But they're good.
And that's why I took them off the cookie sheet and put them on the cooling rack before I put them away. But they do hold their shape once they're cool.
Yeah, they do.
They stay in a nice cookie shape.
Yeah. So, no, they're good. Good job, baby. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thanks for joining us again tonight, you guys. We really appreciate having you here. We hope that you will consider subscribing and joining us again, hitting the notification bell so that you know when we upload new content. We upload twice a week. We have Keto Conversations on Wednesdays, and then we do our recipes on Sundays. And in our Keto Conversations, sometimes we have ketogenic food unboxings. We're working on having what we eat in a week type videos, so we definitely don't want you to miss out on that. So please come back and see us again. We're also on social media. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest. And if you need any further recipe ideas, macros, full principle recipes, those can always be found on our blog, and that is CJSKETOKITCHEN.com. So we hope that you will come back and see us again soon, and we'll see you next time on CJ's Keto Kitchen. Bye.